Hey everyone, and welcome back. We're going to be taking a deep dive into some research that has, it has the potential to change how we think about preventing Alzheimer's.
Oh, absolutely.
It's a possible connection between pretty common diabetes medication and a seriously lower risk of getting this awful disease.
Yeah.
We've got this recent article from Medical News Today,
Okay.
all ready to go, and you guys are going to want to hear this.
Yeah, this is a big one.
Okay, so get this.
Okay.
The study found that certain people taking this medication had up to a 70%
Wow.
lower risk of developing Alzheimer's.
That's huge.
70%, to put that in perspective, we're talking about a potential game changer
Yeah, absolutely.
in a field where, even small wins are celebrated.
Yeah, it makes you really sit up and pay attention when you hear numbers like that.
Exactly. But before we get ahead of ourselves, let's start with the basics.
Okay.
There's an established link between type 2 diabetes and a higher risk of Alzheimer's.
Right. Yeah. Research has shown that people with type 2 diabetes are more likely to develop Alzheimer's.
Okay.
It's thought to be a combination of factors,
Uh-huh.
a perfect storm, almost.
Yeah.
Obesity, heart disease, high blood pressure, all those things
Right.
often go hand in hand with type 2 diabetes.
They do.
And they also happen to increase your risk for Alzheimer's.
Okay, so it's like one health problem kind of paving the way for another, in a way.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it.
But it's not just those shared risk factors, right?
Right.
I remember reading something about diabetes potentially affecting the brain directly.
You're exactly right. Yeah.
Oh,
Diabetes can damage blood vessels in the brain. And over time, that damage can really take a toll, increasing the risk of dementia even further.
right.
This is where our new research comes in.
Right.
It looks at a medication that might interrupt that chain reaction
Okay.
and offer some protection against Alzheimer's.
Okay, now we're talking.
Yeah.
This is the part I've been waiting for. Tell me more about this medication.
So the star of the show here is semaglutide.
Okay.
It's the active ingredient in a few medications you might have heard of, Ozempic,
Yeah.
Rybelsus, and Wegovy.
Oh, Wegovy. Isn't that the one people are taking for weight loss?
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
It's FDA approved for both type 2 diabetes and weight management.
Wow.
That's what makes this study even more interesting.
Yeah.
Some people might already be taking semaglutide
Right.
and unknowingly reaping these potential brain benefits.
Wow. Talk about a bonus.
I know, right?
So how did the researchers even discover this link between semaglutide and Alzheimer's?
Well, this study from Case Western Reserve University took a deep dive into medical records.
Yeah.
They analyzed data from about 1 million people in the U.S. with type 2 diabetes.
Wow, that's a lot.
A massive study, which adds real weight to their findings.
Yeah.
And importantly, none of these individuals had a prior Alzheimer's diagnosis.
Okay.
They tracked these folks over a period of 3 years, comparing the occurrence of Alzheimer's between those taking semaglutide and 7 other common diabetes medications.
So they were really trying to see if semaglutide stood out from the crowd.
Exactly. They
Yeah.
wanted to isolate the impact of semaglutide.
Okay.
They compared it to insulins, metformin,
Okay.
DPP-4I, SGLT2I, SUs, TZDs, and other GLP-1RAs.
Wow, that's a pretty comprehensive list.
It is.
Okay, spill the tea. What did they find?
Well, the results were pretty remarkable.
Okay.
People taking semaglutide had a significantly lower risk of receiving a first-time Alzheimer's diagnosis
Okay.
compared to those on the other medications.
Right.
We're talking a reduction of 40% to 70%.
Hold on, a 70% reduction in risk.
Yeah.
That's incredible. Was this just for a specific group of people,
Nope.
or did they see this effect across the board?
That's the best part. These results were consistent across different demographics.
Okay.
They saw this
Uh-huh.
lower risk in folks of different ages, genders, and even across different weight categories.
Ah.
It wasn't limited to just a specific subset of people.
So this is starting to sound less like a coincidence and more like a real breakthrough.
I think so too.
But how does semaglutide work its magic?
Right.
What's the mechanism behind this potential protective effect?
That's the million-dollar question.
Yeah.
Researchers have a few theories.
Okay.
One idea is that semaglutide works by tackling those modifiable risk factors we talked about earlier.
Yeah.
Things like obesity,
Right.
diabetes, and heart disease.
Okay.
By addressing these issues,
Uh-huh.
it could be indirectly lowering the risk of Alzheimer's.
So it's like a multi-pronged approach.
Yeah.
Kind of hitting Alzheimer's risk from different angles.
Exactly.
That makes sense.
They also think semaglutide might be doing something more direct,
Okay.
something at the cellular level.
Okay.
It's thought to potentially reduce neuroinflammation.
Okay, now we're getting a bit
A
technical.
little bit, yeah.
Can you break down this neuroinflammation thing for me?
Sure.
What is it and why should we care?
Okay, imagine your brain as a delicate ecosystem.
Okay.
When everything's working in harmony, it's like a well-oiled machine, right?
Right. Right.
But when inflammation kicks in,
Well,
it's like throwing a wrench in the gears.
okay.
Things start to go haywire.
Yeah.
Chronic inflammation, neuroinflammation in this case,
Okay.
can damage brain cells
Mm-hmm.
and disrupt those crucial connections that are essential for thinking,
Yeah.
memory, and overall brain function.
Okay, so semaglutide might be helping to cool down that inflammation
Yeah, that's the idea.
and protect those precious brain cells.
Exactly. And what's even more exciting is that this study adds to a growing body of research
Okay.
that suggests a link between semaglutide and a lower risk of Alzheimer's.
Interesting.
It's not just a one-off finding.
Okay.
Other studies have shown benefits of metformin and other GLP-1 RAs for Alzheimer's too.
Oh, wow. So this is building on previous research.
It is.
That makes it even more compelling.
Yeah.
But I'm sure there are some caveats. I mean, no study is perfect, right?
You're absolutely right. While this research is incredibly promising,
Yeah.
it's important to remember that it doesn't definitively prove that semaglutide directly prevents Alzheimer's.
Sure.
More research is needed
Okay.
to confirm these findings and explore the long-term effects.
Right.
And that's what we'll dive into next.
Do it.
We need more research to fully understand the long-term impact of semaglutide on brain health.
That makes sense. We don't want to like jump the gun and declare victory or anything. What kind of research is needed?
Well, for starters, this study only followed people for 3 years.
Okay.
We need longer studies
Right.
to see if these protective effects kind of hold up over time.
Hmm.
Like imagine if those benefits continued for 5, 10, or even 20 years.
Yeah. Wow.
That would be really groundbreaking.
I see why people are excited.
Yeah.
But beyond just tracking people for longer, what else do we need to figure out?
We need to dig deeper into how semaglutide is actually working, you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah.
Is it really those modifiable risk factors?
Mhm.
Or is there something else going on
Mm.
at the cellular level?
Yeah.
We talked about neuroinflammation earlier.
Right.
Well, understanding how semaglutide might be impacting those inflammatory processes,
Uh-huh.
that's crucial.
So it's not enough to just know that it works.
Right.
We need to understand why it works.
Exactly.
Got it.
That deeper understanding could help us refine treatment strategies.
Yeah.
Maybe even develop more targeted interventions for Alzheimer's prevention.
I'm starting to see a whole roadmap of research kind of unfolding here.
Yeah.
What are some of the other avenues scientists are exploring?
Well, one thing that's got people buzzing is whether semaglutide might have similar benefits for other neurodegenerative diseases.
Oh, really?
Yeah, could it be helpful for conditions like Parkinson's disease or even multiple sclerosis?
Wow. So this could have implications far beyond Alzheimer's.
Absolutely.
We're talking about potentially changing, like, the landscape of brain health as we know it.
That's the hope.
Wow.
And there's another interesting development I wanted to mention.
Okay.
Researchers are also looking at a more potent version of semaglutide called tirzepatide.
Hold on.
Yeah.
A more potent version.
Uh-huh.
Does that mean even stronger potential benefits?
That's what they're hoping to find out.
Wow.
Tirzepatide is already approved for treating type 2 diabetes,
Okay.
and early research suggests it might be even more effective than semaglutide for weight loss.
Interesting.
Now they're investigating whether it might also pack a bigger punch when it comes to brain protection.
So we've got ongoing research on semaglutide,
Right.
investigations into other neurological diseases,
Yeah.
and this new contender, tirzepatide, entering the ring.
Right.
It feels like we're on the verge of some serious breakthroughs in the fight against Alzheimer's.
It does feel that way, and there's one more avenue of research I wanted to highlight.
Oh, there's more.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm all ears.
Researchers are also studying whether semaglutide and tirzepatide could potentially have therapeutic effects for people who already have Alzheimer's disease.
Whoa.
Imagine if we could not only prevent this disease,
Yeah.
but also help people who are already struggling with it.
So we're talking about not just prevention, but potentially treatment as well.
Exactly.
Could these medications actually help to, like, slow down?
Yeah.
Or even reverse the cognitive decline that comes with Alzheimer's?
That's the ultimate goal.
Wow.
If these medications can offer hope to people who are currently facing this devastating diagnosis,
Yeah.
it would be a monumental breakthrough.
I can only imagine.
Right.
This is a lot to process.
I know it's a lot.
Before we get too carried away with all the possibilities,
Yeah.
let's take a step back and recap what we've learned so far. All right, so let's have a quick recap of what we've learned today.
Okay.
We started off exploring the link between type 2 diabetes and a higher risk of developing Alzheimer's.
Yeah, and we talked about how that link isn't just a coincidence. It's likely due to a mix of things like obesity and heart disease,
Yeah.
as well as the potential for diabetes to directly impact blood vessels in the brain.
Right, it's like a domino effect.
Yeah, exactly.
Then we jumped right into this exciting new research on semaglutide.
Yeah,
It was originally developed for type 2 diabetes,
right?
but now it's got researchers buzzing because it seems to significantly reduce the risk of developing Alzheimer's.
And what's really promising
Yeah.
is that the study showed this reduced risk across different ages,
Uh-huh.
genders, and weight categories.
That's a big deal.
Yeah, it suggests that semaglutide's benefits could extend to a much wider population.
Exactly. But we have to be cautious.
Of course.
More research is needed to confirm these findings
Right.
and understand the long-term effects of semaglutide.
Absolutely.
We also can't forget about understanding how semaglutide might be protecting the brain.
Right.
Is it just by tackling those modifiable risk factors?
Yeah.
Or is there something more at the cellular level? Like its impact on neuroinflammation,
Exactly.
unraveling
Yeah.
these mysteries.
Yes.
That's the next step.
It's a crucial next step for sure.
So many questions are still out there.
Yeah.
But even with those questions, this research offers a glimmer of hope
It really does.
in the fight against Alzheimer's.
Absolutely.
And the research doesn't stop there.
Nope.
Scientists are also exploring whether semaglutide could have similar benefits
Uh,
for other neurodegenerative diseases.
yeah.
And they're even looking into a more potent version of this medication.
It's an exciting time for this field.
It feels like we're on the edge of a whole new era in brain health.
I agree.
Imagine a future where we have effective ways to not only prevent Alzheimer's disease,
Right.
but potentially even treat it.
That's the dream.
A future we can all hope for.
Absolutely.
And this research gives us a good reason to be optimistic.
It does.
So what does this all mean for our listeners right now?
Yeah.
If you have any concerns about your risk for Alzheimer's or other neurological conditions,
Right.
the first step is always to talk to your doctor.
Exactly. They can help you assess your individual risk
Right.
and discuss the best prevention strategies for you.
And as always,
Yeah.
stay curious.
Absolutely. Keep your eyes peeled for future studies
Yeah,
on semaglutide and Alzheimer's. This is a field to watch.
it really is.
The more we understand about the brain,
Uh,
the closer we get to finding effective ways to prevent and treat these devastating diseases.
couldn't have said it better myself.
Thanks.
Well, that brings us to the end of our deep dive today.
It was a good one.
It was. I hope you found this exploration as fascinating as we did.
I did.
Until next time,
Yeah.
keep those brains engaged and stay curious.